Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our second webinar about the topic on technology and technology adoption, and of course, change management. This is our second meeting today. The first one happened 2 weeks ago. I'm happy to see those who have been participated already the first event, and welcome those who is coming first time today. My name is Andrii Burlutskyi, and I'm Strategic Marketing Manager for Smart Business Company. So today's topic is about why technology is alone not a solution for the business. If you remember, on the first webinar, we were talking together with Microsoft representative about how actually the overview on the adoption and change management for the technology projects, for the technology applications that are used by end users. Today, I will tell you and give you more insights why human side of change is so much important, and how how IT departments, how HR departments can work with employees with adoption and change management frameworks in order to help employees and company go through the change. So a few words about the Smart Business. We are Microsoft partner. We are Microsoft Partner of the Year partner, awarded 2 times in 2017 and 2018. We do sell Microsoft products, all stack, starting from Dynamics 365 and Office 365, Azure, Power BI, and of course, we have our own products based on artificial intelligence. Today, our topic will be related to technology, and the highlights will be more dedicated to the Microsoft 365 platform and Office 365. We have adoption projects and change management projects across different regions and different countries where we do have offices. So our experience and insights and thoughts that I will share with you today are coming from different cultures, different perspectives, and different industries. And what is more important, different types of customers, different size, different ways of working, different cultures, etc. So please sit down comfortably and let's talk about adoption. So before we start, I want to tell you that everything that you will hear today is actually about the program that we offer for you together with Microsoft, which is called Microsoft FastTrack and Adoption Project. For those customers who has more than 150 Office 365 licenses, you can get this set of activities for free. In order to get it, please go to our website, adoption.smartit.com, or you can scan QR code on the screen, and you will be redirected to the landing page where you can download interesting electronic books about adoption and technology, and also how to start using Microsoft Office 365 product, including or especially Microsoft Teams. Also, you can request for the project on this website, and I will connect with you immediately in order to discuss the scale and what you would like to get and achieve and how we can deal with it. So actually, before we jump into the discussion on why technology itself does not solve business problems or business tasks, business does not achieve business goals, I want to talk with you why we do think about using technology for our end users, for our employees in their workspace. I call it digital workspace. With digital workspace, we're able to reinvent the communication culture inside the company. We can reinvent how we work individually. We can reinvent how we work in the teams. We can reinvent or establish the network of or community of subject matter experts in the company and make this cycle helping each other through the right communication, using right communication tools, using right communication rules to achieve company results. Because the effectiveness of communication inside the company, it really impacts on the effectiveness or operational effectiveness of the company itself, which at the end of the day results into the revenue, into the business KPIs and other business objectives that should be met. But as you see on the screen right now, so we're talking about this cycle where individual is in the center. An individual will be always in the center, while organization itself becomes kind of enabler of using different types of technology and proposing or offering to the employees, to the entire organization, services. It's more about enablement. It's enablement to communicate, enablement to reflect, to collect and store data information and exchange this information between people. And when we build such enterprise collaboration architecture, we're talking about enablement in 3 phases. The first one is building the community of people who know a lot, who are professionals. They are maybe a long time in the company, or they were hired as a high professional person. And we are building community of those people so everybody can reach out to them with their question, with the issue, with the feedback, or just to talk about the business. Yeah, this community should be able to learn all the time, to be able to share and find the information which was requested by other people from the company. This community goal is actually to help company to innovate, because there are subject matter experts from different aspects of the business. It can be accounting, it can be IT, it can be innovations, it can be sales, it can be public speaking, it can be advertising, everything. But do we have in our companies the community or managed community of the subject matter experts? Do we know who can do what in the company to contribute to other success? And then when we have a community, the community helps to grow individual. While individual is able to find the information from subject matter expert, to reflect on what he needs, what his objectives are, and organize his daily routine, his daily work, and actually act, to do the action. Everything we do around communication, about the tools, about the culture, we create ecosystem or environment so people can act, to do. They become doers. And actually, the success of every doer actually contributes to the success and contributes to the performance of the team, of the teams in our companies. It can be project teams, it can be specific departments, HR, sales, operational department, logistic. And actually, this is the most important part of it, because we're talking about contribution to each other's success through the communication and the right tools in the right place that enable people to make their work done in the digital world. So we create for teams, for individual, for community, a digital workspace to do business in the digital world. But if we're talking that people are staying in the heart of this collaboration architecture, actually people ask the question, so if we want to change how people used to work, let's compare that how people used to work even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We really want them to change the way they are working. We want to make the change the way how they do online meeting, virtual meeting, how they facilitate online meetings, how they prepare to them, how they find and share information. We're changing their culture, their behavior. And actually people, they love change, but they love change when it's for themselves. When we understand why do we want to change. We don't make the change and think this is going to be bad. We're always ready to change when we're sure this is gonna be good for me, for my family, for my friends, and close surround. We go to gym to make change. We eat cleaner food to make change for our health. When things aren't going well in our lives, we think, let's make a change. And if you look around, when it comes for the change, everything is pretty positive. I mean, look at the books which you can see on the shelves. Yeah, all the books about the change for the individual, they are very positive. That change gonna happen, like the magic of thinking big, the power of now. Yeah, and for example, yeah, badass, how to stop doubting, yeah, your greatness and start living awesome life. So it looks like it's not very complicated, isn't it? Well, actually it is. It is when we're going to, when we're talking about good things, it's easier. But when we're talking about complex things, it's not that easy, because the complex things we're talking about is actually organizational change. When it comes to the organizational change, it becomes a very different story. Um, the the headline, yes, is not that positive as it was saw on the previous picture. Organizational change is not always about change of the person for itself. It means that we want the person to change its behavior to help organization, the company where he works, be successful. So how we perceive, or how the person, humans, perceive the change when we're talking about organizational changes, actually with a very big piece of skepticism. We're very cynical about the change when we're talking about organization and our companies. Yeah, we can take like, here we like, what? Here we go again change? Isn't it just a management fad? Yeah, it can be changed. What people think about the change? They think about, okay, it will be again cost reduction, it can be travel bans, etc., etc. And to think this is the best way or more positive way that we see change in the organization, because it was in the worst case scenario, people really can like leave the company because they can opt to the change, because the change itself went in the wrong direction with the wrong objectives and does not help individuals in the company, employees, to reach their goals. So they contribute to the team's success, they contribute to the communities and subject matter experts' success, and all of them together contribute to company success. So why? Why change is so hard? Like, if there were any surprise why change is so hard, like if you will think about yourself, you will for sure give the answer. And I will also want you to give you insights why change is hard. Because change is not always clear. There is no clear message to every employee in the company, every person, every team, what we're going to change. Yeah, what we're going to change and why it is important for the company and what's going to be different, what will change, because change will change not only behavior, but it will change internal feelings of the person. So it really can touch very human sides of ourselves. And of course, change is not very much certain. Yeah, it's not very much certain. And the last but not least, it's for sure change is not very, or well, not very, is not always comfortable. And it's really not always comfortable because you have to work push yourself, first of all, to change. You have to change the mindset. You have to be, to have everything you need for the change. For example, advice, instruction, roadmap for the change, reason for the change. All these things that help people to understand why, and we always start with why when we're talking about adoption and change management of the technology products or technology platforms. Think about yourself. Yeah, when you've been learning driving. Yeah, think back of your first time when you were learning to drive. I would make mistakes. I'm afraid of sitting in this this piece of hardware and starting like going somewhere. Thankfully, not too bad. And now, it's now a second nature, our second nature, like a habit, not like it is a habit. This is how it works. Or let's think about the first time you first gym session after New Year, after Christmas. Yeah, if it's one off, it can be exhausting. It really can be exhausting. So in the pace of innovation, building the change or making the change and adopting technology for the end users, for the teams, for the departments, communities, and the entire organization means build the change into our everyday routine so it really becomes a habit. So let's talk about what is adoption and change management is. Actually, in terms of adoption, it becomes more really people explain this term absolutely different. Some people refer to the fluffy stuff. Some like really, some people name it like regular trainings. Some people call that adoption and change management. It's all about technical enablement, but actually it is not. It is part of the adoption and change management project, but it's not the only one thing that's happening during the adoption period of technology adoption. So adoption is the acceptance, like really, as I mentioned before, acceptance of the technology to enable the new ways of working. New ways of working, let me show you, just to remind you, this is our new ways of working. We're talking about new way of communication and collaboration between people to be successful as individuals, like more effective, do things faster, save time, save money, find faster information, compete faster with competitors, close faster deals, hire faster people. It's all about still communication and exchanging the information. So this is enablement of new ways of working by your end users. And then the change management is a framework and set of activities, of structured activities, to drive this adoption project of new way of working. And this is what we offer to you free of charge on our website, adoption.smartit.com, where you can request free of charge adoption and change management consulting sessions, set of activities, including end user readiness, including facilitation of technology sessions, teamwork assessment, security assessment, bill of materials, bill of templates to support communication, etc., etc. So what we use, how we do it in for our customers, we use technology change management framework, change management approach by ProSci, which is called ADKAR. It's all about to be like, you remember we started with the technology is not always certain, comfortable, or clear. So here we're talking about exactly about the opposite, positive sides that we consider during adoption and change management projects. We consider the awareness of everyone why we need to change. What is the goal? What is the biggest goal for that? And then to extrapolate to the people around the organization. What is the need in this change? What is the need for them? That they desire a big will, a big wish to change. Knowledge is all about to know how to do it. How we lead change, how we measure success, what other KPIs do we consider in order to measure our success, to understand when we are successful, how we know that our change has resulted into the company, individual, and team's success. Ability, being able to do the change. We also need people who help to make the change. We need technologies that help to make the change. We need frameworks. We need approach to make the change. And the reinforcement. It's ongoing support of the end users during the time they change behavior, and also to gather all the time and ongoing feedback and reinforce learning, reinforce activities, reinforce everything that we do during the adoption and period using change management practices. So actually, there are a lot of frameworks that you can hear. It's Kotter, it's Lewin, but we use Precise at CAR framework. One more remark I would like to make is that adoption and change management is not about ITIL framework or Prince2. It's not a project management, really. It's really about managing the change. If you already have Office 365, or you already have Microsoft 365, or other technology, actually, we want you to make most of the tools that you already have. Engage with your colleagues through live events. For example, our webinar today is happening through live events. Become a more visible leader, empower people to do their best from working anywhere, recruit a wider, diverse talent pool. So, I mean, Office 365 is a transformative tool set, and it's the way we work. You think it's changing, but actually it is not. The way we work has been changed, already changed, and this is what we use. So, when we do drive, there are two ways of driving adoption of the technology. One way is the correct one, and the second one is the wrong one, or at least, let's say, bad. When we give to the employees set of tools, set of innovative tools, transformative tools like Office 365, users usually are really inspired, interested in starting using it. They will start testing, looking what is it, how it works, what are the buttons, what are functionality. Some of them maybe will look in the internet, something additional information about the tools that they have got. But actually, if we are not explain them how to use it, why to use it, and that they allowed to use it, then our, adoption curve, the habit curve, will go down. But if we do that, if we explain to the people, and we really create a specific project on adoption and explain and show to the people the roadmap of change, roadmap of how they will be impacted by the change management and adoption project. And then your adoption curve will start going up, because people will start understanding why and why to change and what will happen during the period of time, how they should be prepared, what they potentially can feel or what they potentially cannot feel. The next one, do we control? Do we observe and monitor and gathering ongoing feedback of what's going on? If we educate people, if we provide, for example, end user readiness or trainings, do we gather the feedback how people feel right now about using this technology? If it works, are they able to do their tasks done or not? This is about hearing and actually gathering feedback, and then fix and change, change the direction, change the approach, change maybe some frameworks. But you always should observe what is going on, so people don't feel that they are alone. Because when they feel they are alone, they will give up. Just give up. It will be kind of sabotage, etc. This is how it works. And if no adoption, if no change management activities after start, like in 1 to 3 months, believe me, people will go back to the old style of working. They will start using old applications. They will continue use old processes. And what is more, I think, for IT departments, they will be back to the shadow IT, using applications that are not allowed in the company, on their PC, on their laptops, or on the phones. And actually, to help people to adopt, doesn't matter you work alone or with us, we propose to the people scenarios of working. Scenarios is something equal to the business processes that exist in the company. Different companies, different scenarios, but you can see the overall overview or insights on how business processes or usage scenarios can be named, can look like. And then when we look at those scenarios, we can understand what we can change using technology, using application, what we cannot change. And there are a lot of scenarios that we develop during Microsoft Teams assessment workshop. This is facilitated workshop for 4, 8, or 16 hours. During this period, we define the project team, we define business scenarios, we define KPIs for every scenario, we define how we measure success or how we understand that things has been changed and they reached our KPIs and our goals. We do it in a pretty easy way, simple way. We use templates, and this is kind of, it's a kind of brainstorm when you can free your mind and think really about yourself, everyday routine, everyday scenarios, and ask yourself the question like, me, as someone in the team, I want to do something using this kind of, for me, processes, tools, approaches, etc. And I know this will be successful when some things will happen. So how will I measure success? Let me give you an example. For example, if I'm someone in the sales team, as a sales management, as a sales director, I want to have a single version of the sales proposal for everyone, that everyone has access to this sales proposal. It's always up to date. It's only one version of this sales proposal. Nobody will use the wrong one, outdated, etc. And we will stop exchanging multiple versions of this sales proposal by email. How I would do it, how I would like to do it, what I would use for this. I want to have a technology that will allow me to share, to share files from a kind of website where I will put this version of the document and everybody will have access. We will be able to co-author together, have an access which will be secured to the documents and presentation. Nothing about technology. It's about how I would like to work. And actually the how I will know this is successful, my sales team creates a proposal more easy. It can be measured as a time. For example, create sales proposal in 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes. And giving them more time to close deals. How I measure it, for example, when we work with the customer, we really measure it actually really like a time. How much time people spend creating sales proposal and how much time they created right now. We use watches for there and see how it works. And we create different scenarios working with you. We create different scenarios, for example, for recruiting, as you see on the screen, and you can read how it looks. Not only recruiting, but also like for HR generalists, for IT, for marketing, for operations, for logistics, for internal communications, for everyone. I mean, everyone in company is engaged in the enablement of the collaboration. And this is type of use case scenarios that can be performed. So what do we mean by a use case scenario? A use case scenario is the expression of business needs, main existing opportunities or problems. And for example, we wouldn't be talking about to share information. It's pretty obvious, yes, and clear. What does it mean to share information as use case scenario? But instead, yes, we will use, for example, improving the way how information is shared when it comes to competitors. So how do people have access to the information about competitors? Do they able to share this information throughout organization, marketing and sales teams, so they perform the action immediately to actually win against the competitors? This is how it works. it's important that we also prioritize the scenarios. That can be different. They can be in different aspects. First of all, it can be quick wins. So what we can really change right now and achieve the goal immediately and see the results. It can be first success. So this is something we also can do pretty quickly, just giving the tools. Yeah, it's using features and scenarios that very obvious to use. If we're talking about Microsoft Teams, for example, the communication hub, it's about to start chatting with each other, just to start chatting, and maybe calling, which is also pretty easy in Microsoft Teams. Next one is to avoid or keep for later. There can be scenarios that require more digitalization. It requires creating a business process, mapping the tools, different stages to try to test and get the feedback. Even more, it can touch different other business processes and scenarios that have a huge impact. So that's why we're talking about, first of all, quick wins, first success, and there are also important piece of the scenarios that really transform the business. So with the pace of innovation is changing at a rapid pace, the digital transformation, the adoption of the technology in your company, it's actually not about the technology. It's really about the changing people's behavior, first of all, and most of all. And just 20% of all that is about actually technology. When technology is just an enabler of the new ways of working. Being able and understand how artificial intelligence is helping you to create wonderful presentations in PowerPoint. It's not about the technology. The tool is done, but the way of using it in a right way, this is the question. This is the idea, and this is what we need to sell to our end users. So how we do this, all these, let's say, projects, yes? Based on our experience, the first lesson is to really inspire people through the purpose. Have a clear vision about what are you waiting to achieve after the change. What is your North Star, for example? This is how it works. What I starting from the awareness, yeah, and ADKAR framework, where we are going to. The second lesson, it's like to think about the bigger transformation that can happen in your company, and the transformation which is happening around you. You as a company not alone in the world. The technology around the world is impacting you, influencing you. So think about this big change around you and think about improvements and pain points in the business. Like relate back to earlier times. Think how you used to work and think about what you can do now in order to accelerate in selling to your customers, accelerate in working with the incoming information, accelerate with the list of tasks, which is growing day by day. And we will help you to land it on the technology. Well, do something. It's actually do better than nothing. And I think the most important when we are talking about the making something big, it's actually start to make something small that will have a positive impact, which can be easily measured, and you will understand that this type of change, this type of behavior is really working. Again, everything will be about people, about human side of change. It's all about people and create environments for people to be successful. Think just about this philosophy. If your company is a place for people where they can be successful, ensure that they have tools for themselves to be successful. You have Office 365. Are you only using emails? What about the other applications? Microsoft Teams, Yammer, live events, OneDrive, PowerPoint with artificial intelligence. How are you supporting people in the organization that have disabilities to be successful? Are you using accessibility features in Office 365? And have you got an inclusive organization? And the right behavior, the right change, it should be rewarded. Rewarded by thank you, rewarded by gifts, rewarded by what people would like to have, but it should be rewarded. Anyhow, any good change, any step forward should be rewarded. Remember, when you make a great change for yourself, you usually say, hey, you did a great job. You're saying to yourself, for example, you finished like 1 year of gym, yes, or finished like a great project for your on your own, or finished like education, your own education. You say to yourself, hey, you did a great job, thank you for that. And sometimes you even reward yourself. You can buy a chocolate, a glass of whiskey, or have a great dinner at a restaurant for yourself. Just as you reward yourself for achievements, reward your employees that they change the behavior. And of course, investments. Invest into the resources, invest into the people and time. Because digital transformation and technology adoption is not a one-time project. It's a journey. That's why sit down comfortable and be ready for this wonderful digital transformation journey. So just to reflect finally on 5 steps for leading the change, it's inspire, understand the purpose, why, bigger thing, change about yourself, think about your company as a part of the bigger world. What kind of big change you can do, you can achieve, but start small to understand it is working. Create your working space, your company, as an environment for the people to be successful, with successful tools for inclusive organization, for people with disabilities, and for those who can actually accelerate day by day. Reward people for changing the behavior, and invest into the resources. Please go to our website, adoptionsmartit.com, and you can request for the consulting session. I will explain you why and how you can drive this type of adoption project and change management frameworks in your company when you adopt new technologies, especially Office 365 and Microsoft 365. There are more details over there. Learn, be familiar with that, and ask any questions that you have. Be successful, transform your business, and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye-bye.